So
Yeah.
Birds Aren't Real on the red side having the first
You sure we
ban
love him though?
here.
I don't know.
Wow. All right. So upon
I
Wes
missed
saying
that.
that they're in draft, we are currently not in draft. So I would like everyone to type Wes
Oh,
Gap in chat.
yeah.
Okay, just as
There
we
you
get
go.
into draft,
There we go.
and the JBB is going to be the first ban. I will be very surprised if Morgana makes it through. I think there's no way the JBB can win this if they don't have, or if they at least don't pick Morgana and keep it away out of Zohair's hands.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like their game plan last game. I think that trying to get GG denied ahead early is probably really good. I think that he's easily the best player on the team. Uh, although, oddly enough, when we did speak behind the scenes the other day, he did say that he prefers late game scaling comps. So maybe they'll try to pivot um, over to a more top centric game this time around and try to let GG Denied play comfortably in the bot lane, try to scale up. But we'll have to see how that goes. Morgana and Ali banned away, and it looks like the Nunu ban is being hovered. I wouldn't be surprised if they go through with that one. I think Kid Kirito had a lot of impact with that Nunu early.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. But apparently, birds aren't real. Does they go for the Lee Sin ban? Lee Sin, obviously, we've seen some character we've seen a lot of, specifically in the top lane. Huge lane bully. They evidently don't want Reese's Pieces up against that because Leona is hovered for a first pick and locked in. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that's a horrible first pick for JBB.
Yeah, definitely a lot of counters going on there. Like
Thresh,
Thresh.
for example.
Yeah,
There he is.
Thresh. Haha.
It
I
might be a
mean,
comfort pick for Bahutot. I mean, he played Leona very well, I would say, in that
mhm.
last game. But yeah, the threat, like you said, the Thresh is such a counter. We were talking about it. And I'm excited to see it on a Kingsland.
Yeah, and
Ooh, Thresh
Tristana pick.
Tristana.
I like that as well because Tristana, of course, can be flexed mid lane, but there's not you don't even need to as Tristana. And what I really want to, what I think is really interesting about the dynamic of this lane is that Leona is going to actually be an incredibly defensive support in the context of this lane. If she tries to go in, she'll get flayed away. Even if she does land on Tristana, there's always that threat that Tristana just jumps onto your AD carry with Thresh, and then suddenly you're a rocket jump distance away. Your AD carries alone with Tristana Thresh, and you lost the fight, which is one of the big reasons why I didn't think Leona was a good first pick. So we'll see if it has to play out that way. And JBB, I guess wanting more tankiness is going to pick another flex pick in the Volibear. Could go top or jungle with what seems to be a rise in the mid
Uh, okay. So it is going to be the Rise. Phase Rush did get nerfed, so I'm not sure how well he's going to be able to run around this patch. Honestly, don't really like the Rise too much, especially with the Leona. Maybe if they had something like the Lulu or something that could really enable him to just
lane.
take over team fights. But I don't know. Maybe it's a comfort pick. We'll have to see. Kane being locked in for Birds Aren't Real. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Uh, I do really like the Kane as the third pick. I think that with bans coming in, I think this is the best pick Kane in the draft. He's so versatile as a champion, very obviously having those two different forms. But even in that, there is a good amount of build diversity you can get. So I really do like the Kane. He can be almost flexed into different roles. Um, uh,
Yeah.
and and especially because you don't necessarily know what they're going to ban, it really makes him flexible. As Renekton Samir taken away by Birds Aren't Real, and Irelia Silas taken by JBB, not wanting to give either of those characters, I guess, to Reese's Pieces or to Arsh in the mid lane.
Yeah, I definitely think Kane is definitely flexible. He can either go into Red Kane or alternatively, he could go Red Kane. I think that both of those options are pretty good. But yeah, definitely a lot of things he could play around. Varus, I think, is actually pretty good pick. We'll see if he locks it in. But I like Varus. He has relatively long range. He can bully out the Tristana early on, but he can also scale up pretty well and stay safe with his ulti. I think that if he could just ulti Kane, there's really not much that Birds Aren't Real can do unless they land a crazy hook or whatever. And Set being locked in for Joe's big biceps, I think rounds up the comp pretty well. Tons of AoE damage with Volibear, Rise, Varus, and then you have the Set to really just get that engaged. There's a lot of things that Set can do. Set not only can use his ult to engage on the enemy team, but he could also just ult away a threat away from his backline too. And that let's not forget that he can use his ult to peel. So the Riven pickup for Bar, I think, is
I
maybe
love
a
that
little
Riven pick.
disrespectful.
Yeah, that's a flex pick. Not in
Yeah,
terms of
it's
where it's gonna go, but Reese's Pieces evidently flexing very hard. I gotta say, I really do love the team comp from Birds Aren't Real compared to JDB. There's so many different ways they can decide to play this, depending on, of course, which way the game goes, as well as just how they want to. Whereas JBB, I think they have a pretty it's almost like they, if team building is a puzzle piece, I feel like they've got like three different three different puzzle pieces here. They're trying to build one puzzle because none of their champions synergize all that well together. They don't have a lot of consistent DPS, assuming the Varus does go the meta poke
Bro,
build.
what are you talking about? What? They don't synergize? Set and Volibear's ults synergize pretty well. I don't know.
Ooh,
I mean,
analyst desk getting spicy.
they
Fight.
they
What?
uh
I don't know
I
about
mean
that.
I would argue that their backline and frontline don't synergize all that well together. They have different goals and what they're trying to do. Varus, Rise are both best when people are running at them. The other three champions are best in the opposite scenario. No, they don't have a lot of consistent DPS. Rise is going to be the only one that's doing a lot. If, as I said, Varus went for the poke build, they don't have a lot of options in the way they can play these fights. So yeah, I'm gonna stand by my statement. I think Bar has a much better team comp in this game.
Okay.
I
All
mean,
right.
Birds Aren't Real
Kang?
might have the better team comp, but I'm still gonna disagree with the fact that you said that JBB's comp doesn't really synergize well. I think you're underestimating what Varus can do even when he's chasing. Like he's not like a Zaya where you have to kite out the other team. I think he has a lot of tools with his E and his R to be able to catch up. And he has pretty large range too, so he doesn't have to be in their face the whole game. And not only that, but Set being able to set up like even just a 3-man ulti into the Rise AoE, I think is going to be pretty good. Not to mention the Solar Flare from Leona. I mean, they have a lot of long range engage too. So I think if they play pretty scrappy, fight heavy game, I think JBB could take this one. But I mean,
I
Birds Aren't
mean,
Real definitely have a lot more tools.
are you gonna be more out scrappy than a Riven Kane Tristana? I mean, really? In
Yeah.
those champions all excel, or I guess mostly Riven and Kane really excel at these scrappy, disorganized team fights. So
I mean,
I'm
Tristana
still
too. But
yeah, Tristana too, but to a lesser extent. But
Okay,
yeah,
boys.
no,
Predictions.
birds
Stefano.
aren't real. Birds aren't real, and I think it's not gonna be close this game.
All right, Kang.
I think Birds Aren't Real, but I do think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a stomp like Stefano says. I'm pretty sure JVB can be pretty competitive in this game.
All right, man. It's great having you guys back on the analyst desk together, arguing about stuff. This is great. Very entertaining for me, very entertaining for chat. But let's take our competitive integrity break, and we'll be right back with game 2 of Birds Aren't Real versus Joe's Big Biceps.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and we are in Game 2, Natural. We are here. Birds Aren't Real are on the verge of securing a spot in the finals for the CECS League of Legends division, and they have to do it with a team comp that has been hotly debated so far on the analyst desk, as well as in chat, of course, as always. But we do see, very interesting compositions coming in here. Very, very much, you know, geared towards some of those late game or mid game team fights and just fights in general. I don't know. Where do you stand on the debate between these two comps? Is Varus a weird pick here, or does he fit?
Yeah, sure. I'll give my 2 cents on it. I think that Varus isn't too bad. I kind of agree with both Funky and Kang in their respective opinions. I don't think either analysis is completely wrong. But I do think that the Varus is a fine pick, and the reason for that is just because of his ultimate, right? And at the end of the day, Joseph Biceps have pretty similar goals, but we might be looking at a level 1 invade here.
Yeah, looking for it. And they're not going to really find much. The Birdbank stepping up and sort of spotting a couple, and Zohair going to take away the Raptors. Now, I'm excited to see Kane. You know I love this champion. Zohair does manage to grab that camp, and of course, Kane very good at taking Raptors. But, yeah, you know, has taken Conqueror. Definitely going red Kane here. There's just no possible excuse for going blue in this particular game with those two ranged champions and lots of tanks. So we're going to see that red Kane. It scales up so well into the late game and into these team fights. Kingsland wants to go in here. GG denied, already taking a bunch of damage, but it's Kingsland who ends up worse for wear in that trade. So early advantage potentially gained over by JBB in this lane. And yeah, you know, Varus, Leona, there's a big go button on them at level 6, but until then they might struggle into this Thresh.
Yeah, you know, Tristan Thresh having very good early levels, especially at level 2 and 3. They're unlocking those very crucial abilities that jump in the bomb. As we have a bit of trading here in the top side, Riven should not be taking any of these early trades. Because of Set's early regen and his early power, there's no way Riven beats Set early on into the game. At level 6, it kind of becomes viable. Sure. But the good news is that once Riven gets jungle attention, it becomes very, very easy if Riven gets a lead. If Riven gets a lead, and then this matchup all of a sudden is super easy and unlocked because of Riven's mobility. She's able to dodge out on these crucial abilities. But here, not being able to dodge out on any of the crucial abilities, and these trades are just going in the favor of Sacknut one-handedly.
By the way, Birdman in chat, I see you. You are seen. You are observed. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Just to call out there. But yeah, you know, we did see a great little 1v1 from Sacknut and Reese's Pieces, but not to talk about that right now as GG Denied goes very low. Kingsland now with the Ignite ticking down. Bahuto flashes in. First blood goes to the bot lane of JBB. Again, they do so well into this 2v2, and Kingsland just steps a little bit too far. You can see NoCap has so much HP left, and yeah, you know he's got his finger on that W button wanting to go in. Not able to get anything. Zohair, though, coming in for a gank, and actually Sacknut backs off. Thinks he can go for this 2v1, and Kid Kirito flashing in to make that a reality. Now Zohair, it's now about time to just try to int for form, and that flash is not advisable at all from Zohair. You are never getting out of that one. So 3-0 right off the bat, 4 minutes in. JBB once again take the early lead.
If you were seeing the face I was making right now, Wes, it's kind of that face when you bite into a sour lemon.
Sorry,
yeah,
when you bite into an entire lemon?
Into a sour lemon, into something very sour, like a lemon. Excuse me.
Just quickly, like, how often do you just eat lemons?
Not very often, but if
right.
if
but
I were
you take that face.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, listen. The point I'm getting to is that I don't like the decision making here from Zohair and Reese's Pieces. I don't know who called that gank. But regardless, terrible call. There is no way you win this 2v2. And it's not like you don't know it's a 2v2. Yeah. You know it's a 2v2 because you saw Kid Kirito start on his red buff, right? He is pathing topside. And there is no way in hell you win this 2v2 as, like, no form Kane Riven versus Set Volibear. It is not happening.
Yeah, you know, I do like going in as Kane and trying to gank as often as possible just because I'm a greedy player and I want my form as early as possible. So it's like, all right, melee lanes, I'm coming for you. But in this case, this is the semifinals of the league, so maybe not so much in for form, and Reese's Pieces
dead here.
Getting a lot of damage, and the shield expires just in time for Sacknut to find the second kill for the set. And JBB are on their way to extending this series. So that it goes all 3 games. We'll see if they can make it there, because this is the same idea that happened earlier on in the last game. Kingsland having to flash away. Kid Corito coming up. No flash on the Volley Bear. Used it in the other gank, so that's going to allow Birds Aren't Real bot lane to get away. And 4-0 is the score. 10k gold to 9. Zohair looking for more ganks, looking for more opportunities here, but it's just so hard to play Kayn, you know, into these situations where your lanes kind of are a little bit pushed up. Very, very hard to make those ganks work with no CC in an untransformed Kayn. Oh, Kingsland, how do you land those hooks?
Just threading the needle there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately...
Ooh, they're going to dive, actually. Bahu Toad goes for the stun. Kingsland sticking around. Bahu Toad well executed there, and Kingsland just should not have been in that position. It turns out great work there, and that's the second time that JBB's bot lane has been able to pull that off. So really, really impressive stuff coming in from them, and they put it up to 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, good hook, bro. But it doesn't matter if they're just getting dove right after. Crucially, this is a Guardian Thresh. This is not. This is not the. What's
Aftershock.
Thank you, Aftershock Thresh. But regardless, he used his Q, so it was on cooldown, and then with only the Flay available. Like, what do you do? I mean, Leona just walks up to you, Qs you, and it's just so easy. So yeah, Kingsland there, just the decision-making from Birds Aren't Real are costing them this early game, and now it's a 2.3k gold lead. And Reese just keeps going for this 1v1, but I'm not sure it's going to work out. This might just be a 1v2.
Sacknut coming in, flashing in to secure that kill. Zohair now is here. Might have to extend that ultimate. Wants to get the Q over the wall, but the double kill from Sacknut just dominating. Looking like Dinsbag out here on the set. Sacknut is destroying Birds Aren't Real right now from the top lane. And, you know, that set just gets to that point eventually where he might end up in a position where he just cannot be killed by the carries of Birds Aren't Real. It's just so impressive from this set so far, and Reese's Pieces does not have the answer. Like you said, Riven needs to get ahead in lane in order to, you know, do what Riven does, and that is not the case right now.
Oh, Top Gap, baby! This set is just gonna be dunking on people. He might actually just be one-shotting a Gore Drinker on this back. We'll have to see. And this is a cultured set. This is the maximum damage set. This is the mathematically correct set. He's not one-shotting the Gore Drinker, but he will get there eventually. And the build order is, I believe, Gore Drinker into Titanic, into Starax, into Warmog, or Thornmail, depending on the team compositions here. So it's going to be one very strong set. I mean, the gold difference right now in between both top laners is, I forgot the shortcut on it, but you know, it's consequent. It's a lot of gold right now.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, again, I have to question Zohair's decision making there, who was playing so well last game, and now I don't know if it's Reese's Species that's calling for ganks, or regardless, one of those two is gonna have to take the blame for this early game, because this is horrid decision making. You cannot, like, they are just executing these ganks so poorly, and Sacknut is just getting so far ahead, and now it's a menace, right? Because like, even this bot lane that we were talking about, it's not a bot lane that you can smash either. It is a Varus Leona, so if you overcommit to a gank there, especially as no form Kayn, you are also going to die. So it's looking really rough now for Birds Aren't Real to find any opportunities for Zohair to get his form. And the Birdman, he's totally fine as well in his mid lane matchup. We were talking about how he's a bit of a weak link, but for now, he's handling his matchup completely fine. So yeah, I'm worried for Birds Aren't Real right now. I don't know how they get back into this game.
Yeah, that is the question. Their scaling definitely does have, you know, some merit on this Birds Aren't Real team, but they need to get there. And right now with these champions who don't scale so poorly themselves, it's going to be really, really tough for them to make any progress into coming back into this game. And you can see already the 4,000 gold lead coming up at 10 minutes. Really brutal. A little bit of a farm lead, you know, looking for some silver linings. Zohair going quite up in farm against Kid Corito, just like last game. And last game, Zohair was that difference maker, you know, just absolutely stunning on the Morgana. We'll see if this time, you know, he can do the same thing on Kane. Definitely not going to be the same idea, but Kingsland flashing in, teleport comes, Zohair is here as well, 4-man gank. GG denied, gonna go down here, no cap. Goes in with the jump. Bahu Utot going to go down as well, and this is what they needed. There's the gank coming into mid lane. Arch with the flash away. Ultimate comes in. Kid Corito finishes that one off, so 2 kills go down. A really great decisive play from Birds Aren't Real, but it's answered in mid lane.
It's not even that good of a play. That's the sad part, because despite the double kill, Sacknut, he's just going to claim this entire turret. Not only that, but because Birdman and Kid Kirito answered in mid lane with a kill and about 4 plates, I believe, onto Birdman, he's going to claim this last... okay, I guess he won't, but there is a teleport. So that is fair. But still, that is 3 plates in the mid lane that is going to be shared with Birdman. So, like, yeah, sure, you shut down their bot lane, but it's like, they're not really their win condition anymore at this point. As no cap on the gap, he's going to have to use this that explosive charge to get out of Danger's way. So, I mean, Reese Species, he's 2 levels behind.
Yeah.
Like, this is... It's so rough, because even if you make that play into the bot side, you're like, yeah, we got 2 kills, it's really cool. Sacknut is just there. He's 3 levels ahead! Yeah. Okay, 2. He just passed level 9. But that's
CS.
2 full levels.
Yeah, it's really, really tough for Riven to get into this game, and, you know, you pick the champion not so much to win that very early game, but like you said, to follow up on those ganks, get those sort of early to mid-game skirmishes in your favor with the AoE stun, these types of things, lots of damage. Looks like they might be trying to get control of Dragon. There's Kingsland, pretty common interaction there to get that flay, so that one not coming to fruition, but the Dragon appears to be conceded. I don't know how you'd even approach this. Zohair, though, is behind the pit, potentially maybe looking for some sort of steal here on the Kane. We will see if he does go for it. He is going to go over the wall, doesn't get anything, and Zohair ends up in the pit, unfortunately, has to queue out, does get away. The question is, what is he going to do from here? He's got to go over the wall, and actually they're just going to leave him be. They're just letting Zohair get out scot-free. Didn't have obviously managed to get the steal. And also has gotten the transformation, pretty valuable there, but he's taking a lot of damage. There's Kingsland coming in with the hook. Kingsland looking maybe to use the lantern, but Zohair just uses the E to get away anyway. And wow, yeah, the Dragon does go over. Still a little over a 4,000 gold lead in favor of JBB, and they are looking excellent right now in this game. They've played so well in the early game, both games, but in this case, it's even more of an advantage they've gotten for themselves.
Well, that was a bit awkward. As I say that, Bahutoti is going to get an explosive charge on his head, but the death sentence doesn't land, so everything will be good. Yeah, that chase out to Zohair is a little funny, but it will be fine. They will survive for now, but the question is, now that these Drakes are starting to stack, this is a Mountain Soul, which is also very powerful, especially when you have a Set Volibear and a Leona who stack resistances, right? They're building so many resistances. Yeah. Even as a support, Leona has those bonus resistances and that flat damage reduction. So Mountain Soul are going to be very, very good, and they're already at 2. So now Birds Aren't Real. I feel like they have to contest. If not the next dragon, the dragon after that, they absolutely have to.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the team comp here. You know, the Mountain Soul would just be so brutal for someone like a Riven or a Kane to fight against on, you know, the likes of Set and Volibear. So that's going to be the question here. Birdman taking a bunch of damage, and still it is Arch, you know, showing why he is one of the best players in the league, going a little bit ahead of the Rise in that lane and pushing him out, winning those trades. It's top lane where the difference has really emerged so far. With Zohair transformed and Gore Drinker getting close. It's actually Stridebreaker Sacknut went for. I'm not sure if you mentioned it yet, but yes, yeah, interesting idea there. Arch might get caught out there, and actually Birdman ends up having to flash. Sacknut does get the kill, and he goes unstoppable. No cap looking for more solo kills, but the ultimate comes in. GG denied. Might want to fancy this one. The flash comes in. No cap gets the kill. How did he get that through the exhaust? That GG denied and picked up just for that very occasion. No cap ends up with the solo kill anyway. Thresh helping out at the end. And that's the type of things you need to pull out. Those picks out of nowhere from behind are what Birds Aren't Real need to get back into this game.
Big question mark there from GG Denied. He ults, no cap, only gap, and then he walks back?
Yeah, with the Nautilus Claw built, you know, you'd think maybe he'd go for it. I mean, you see the Thresh coming in potentially, and you're like, oh, I don't have this. I just want to ult and run away. Hard to say.
I'm very confused why he walked back into the auto attack range to, like, okay, so, like, if you're playing Varus into Tristana as Hail of Blades Varus, the Hail of Blades is kind of a bait. You're not doing damage with your auto attacks, right? You're doing damage with your Q because you're playing Lethality Varus. While Tristana, she's doing damage with her auto attacks. She's putting a bomb on top of your head and then autoing you down to make you explode. So, like, you can't just walk up and try to, like, trade auto attacks. That's not how it works. So I'm just so confused by GG Denied there. That's not how you win this. You ult, you arrow, and then you walk away. And that's just, like, it doesn't matter if you don't get the kill. That's what you do as a champion. You're not going to get the kill if you auto attack anyways. So yeah, big misplay there from GG Denied. The Stride Breaker on this set, I just want to come back to it because I'm so disappointed. It's not mathematically accurate. If you play set, please just go Garden Breaker. I know, it breaks my heart. I'm not even a top main. I don't even play set, and as far as I know, that Gore Drinker build is all the rage right now for set mains. You know, of course, the Stride Breaker isn't bad either. It's really, really good. That gap closing ability, and it has such a low cooldown. We see he's just using it there.
Trying to use it on Reese's. Does get away there. Riven very mobile, of course, but Sacknut wants to go a little further. Reese's trying to get away. Flash comes in from Sacknut. Will he be able to get the Facebreaker in? No. He turns around. Reese's Pieces just gets away, but he's caught in a proxy here with Sacknut. Complete dominance. And once again, Birds Aren't Real are trying for the Death Bush here. We saw this lots last game as well. They were trying for these picks, and they ended up getting quite a few of them with JBB running into those bushes. This time, JBB playing a little more cautious. The Dragon's going to go over, but look at this Herald up in the top lane. So much pressure here, and it's only Reese's who is very weak right now compared to these two huge tanks. So Reese's is going to have a lot of trouble defending this push. That Dragon's going to go down, and then they're going to have to come back. Here's Arch coming in with the Shockwave. They're going to go in for this fight, but Sacknut already going in with the ult. Arch has to flash away. Does manage to do that. The turret goes down. Reese's wants to keep going with Arch on his tail. There is the ball coming in. Will Kid Corito be taken out? Flash comes in. Kingsland is going to manage to get that, and the shutdown goes over to the Riven. Reese's Pieces clawing his way back into this game, but at what cost? Every single turret down the top lane has fallen, and they are in dire straits right now as the base is wide open for JBB to go into.
Yeah, the base is wide open, but I think this is still a trade that Birds Are Real are very happy with because, crucially, they got the first Mountain Dragon of the game, and that puts Joseph Biceps off of Soul Point, which is huge. Yeah. I mean, if Joseph Biceps take that dragon, they 100% win the fight. Like, there's no question about it. They're way too far ahead. The only way that they lose a fight is if they misexecute horribly, and Arch pulls out, like, a big shockwave. So yeah, kind of questionable decision making there from Joseph Biceps because all you need to win this game is the Mountain Soul. Like, you get Mountain Soul and you win. It's not a complicated win condition. This is just kind of how a lot of League of Legends games have been going recently since that Soul update. Is getting Soul is just such a huge win condition, right?
Here. 550 gold on that bounty, and he goes for the teleport. It gets canceled there, and that's going to be a shutdown. We'll see what Sacknut can get with the ult. No cap getting a lot of damage. There is the Haymaker coming in, and he takes out the AD carry. Now the question is, do they have the damage? They do. The Kayn goes in for the kill, but at what cost? Again, no cap goes down to this massive set right now. The fighter is in the ring, and it's very, very difficult to take him down. However, huge shutdown does go over. They prevent that. Nothing else was taken off of it, so a 1-for-1 trade goes in BAR's favor right now with that huge shutdown. We'll see if Kid Corito can make it even as Arch now is taking a lot of damage from the Volley Bear. Ult comes in. Arch continuing to take a bunch of damage, has to path in a really weird direction, and the flash! Kid Corito with great reflexes there takes out the mid laner. 11-5 in kills, and still a 5,000 gold lead.
I'll play there from Kid Corito. I mean, like, the first part is just basically a stat check, right? But flashing that shockwave and getting over the wall Super good flash there from Kid Kirito, so well-earned solo kill over to him. And now Zohair here, he's looking for a 1v1, but I'm not sure he can win it.
And we'll see. There's no ult on Kid Kirito, but he's so tanky. Zohair goes in, and yeah, definitely not going to win this one. Just trying to buy time. This is something Red Kane can do really well, and eventually goes over, but save the E for just that purpose. This fight has gone on a long time. Zohair goes in for the ultimate. No Cap wants to go in after him. The knockup comes in, but now No Cap is out of position. Does take the lantern, but still goes down, and Reese's Pieces is up top getting taken down as well, and JBB just continue to make things happen across the map, and BAR going for some desperate fights and not paying off. Sacknut gets the solo kill as well. That's going to be the Baron.
What is Birds Aren't Real doing? They're mental. I feel like the mental at this point is just destroy. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It feels like the decision making just went from bad to worse. Reese's Species, he can't be in the same zip code as this set. Yeah, like you cannot walk up to this set and be like, oh yeah, I have mobility. No, that's not how it works. He just punches you to the ground and you die. And Zohair, they're just really questionable again. Like, I get that you're trying to buy time for your team to collapse, but your team isn't strong enough. Like, if they collapse, this Volibear can buy time as well, and then it's just an equal fight, and you automatically lose because you're so far behind. So again, a very questionable decision-making there, especially from Zohair and Reese's Pieces that were looking so good in Game 1. Now they're just a little shaky. And yeah, it's just a big question mark for me. And now Sacknut, he has his 3 items, and he is so massive for this next dragon fight that I pray to God for Joe's Big Biceps team that they fight, because this is how they win the game. So yeah, really looking forward to that fight, as Sacknut is basically Thanos at this point.
Very, very difficult to take down that set here. And of course, the Tristana, No Cap, just not able to get much out of that lane and mid-game phase of the game. Only 1 item completed so far on the Tristana. It is that Kraken Slayer. But yeah, against a 3-item set, you're going to be just pelting him with peanuts, basically. It's very, very little damage being done right now from that Tristana to anyone, especially the set. And yeah, it looks like that dragon's just going to be given away for free as it does spawn. Here comes Reese's Pieces, and De Birdmang is one character that Reese can 1v1, but just gets out of there, waiting for that stun. Well played there by De Birdmang to get out. Reese's Pieces. And yeah, you can see that, like, what he was trying to do with the Riven pick, wanted to outplay, you know, had a really nice game on Aurelia last game and was able to mostly outplay Sacknut in that top lane, but this time just got behind off that early gank and couldn't get back into it. Huge gold lead right now in the favor of Joe's Big Biceps, and they are making it work. They're really getting pressure on the map. That top inhibitor still open, and more of the map is just being taken by this Baroned up team. So we'll see how much more they can get off of this Baron buff. There is a turret traded over on the other side, so at least that's something for Reese. But yeah, you know, JBB, it's their game to lose right now.
Absolutely. Joe's Big Biceps have been in a commanding position, and I feel like all of this kind of just came from the top side. I mean, it's it's kind of funny to say, because recently I've seen a lot of kind of top lane discussion, and most of it is centered around the lack of impact that top lane does have. And I certainly see it in a lot of solo queue games. Top lane has become kind of this island, where, you know, you can play strong side, top side, but that's pretty much only if you have a strong split pusher and your team is able to play around that split pushing potential. But this time, I feel like it's just Zohair and Reese's Pieces that have just kind of been into the set. Sacknut, he's going in for more of a fight, but he's getting collapsed on.
Pieces wants to go for this, and maybe the set has gone a bridge too far this time. No Cap taking a bunch of damage again, though, and look at that set damage. It is unreal. GG Denied coming in, and it's JBB who managed to find the fight. That's a huge solar flare, and that's going to be Kingsland getting caught out. Zohair with the knockup, but has to get away. That's 2 kills going down already, and it looks like JBB's front line is just too big and too beefy right now for Birds Aren't Real to deal with. The inhibitor goes down. They decide to back off. There isn't much more they can get off of this, but that's already an inhibitor broken, and yeah, you just need more items to take this guy down right now. JBB is doing really well with positioning on the map, always following up on those extended fights, and it's very, very impressive what they've been able to accomplish.
Absolutely. I mean, Sakna, this Vestayan brawler is, he is feeding off of Birds Aren't Real. He is eating them up. It is brutal. Like, he is doing exactly what he needs to do. Sakna is playing topside. He's playing into a side lane. He's baiting Birds Aren't Real into collapsing onto him, and then he's like, haha, call an ambulance, but not for me. And then he absolutely demolishes whoever is in close proximity of him. And then there's no point for Birds Aren't Real to do anything about it, because Joe's Big Biceps are there, right? They rotate to the play, and by the time that they're there, I mean, Saknut isn't dead. He most likely traded 1 for 1 or 1 for 0. And now it's like Joe's Big Biceps are there and they can win the fight. So it's really, really hard for Birds Aren't Real to do anything about this. They have to somehow find a pick on someone else but Saknut, because Saknut isn't the play. You cannot play for Saknut ever. You will always trade in a deficit if you try to punish him. So at this point, you have to try to find like a pick on GG Knight or the Birdman. But they're playing super well. They're playing with their team. They're playing around their vision. So it is really, really hard for Birds Aren't Real to find a play on this map, but they have to find something if they want to qualify for finals without dropping a game. But at this point, it feels very difficult to do.
Yeah, it definitely does. Birds Aren't Real have looked so dominant over the course of this season, but in this, one of the most important games, the most important game of their season so far and of the playoffs, they do appear to be faltering, at least in Game 2. Don't count them out, of course, for Game 3. They are still favored in this series, but here Joe's Big Biceps do not look like they're going to go down without a fight, and they are just so difficult to break through right now for this Tristana. 2 items, Last Whisper completed. That definitely is going to help in terms of breaking through the front line, but it might be too little too late. It's with almost a 10,000 gold lead now accrued here, and so much of it is on that set. Saknut in the front lines. And there's the ultimate coming in, actually. GG Denied does manage to lock down Reese's Pieces, who goes out of the fight. There's the ultimate coming in from the Volley Bear, disabling the tower. So much damage. Double kill comes in from Saknut. He is just rolling over. Birds Aren't Real right now. Birdman takes out his opposing mid laner, and now GG Denied is going to finish it off. It's only Zohair remaining on this Kayn. He goes in. He's just trying to do whatever he can. He goes for a last-ditch effort and doesn't get anything out of it. JBB have taken down the #1 seed in this game. Birds Aren't Real are defeated in this second game of the semifinals, and I believe we are going to a third game.
Oh yeah, baby. Birds Aren't Real. They drop Game 2 to Joe's Big Biceps. That haymaker, it felt more like of a gunshot to me. This is Mike Tyson levels of brutality coming out from Saknut. Beautiful play from this set. Top gap is all I'm going to say before we let it over to our Red Bull analyst desk.
We are heading over there in that. Yeah, that is going to be what we have to find out, is how do they figure out that top gap. Red Bull analyst desk is online, I believe, and we are getting right over to them. Yep, I hear him in there. So Darren, Stefano, Kang, break it down. We are going to Game 3.